Welcome to Rolling Hills Radio with Ken Hardley. Join us for an hour of music and conversation from Proctors in Schenectady, New York. Tonight's guest is Hayes Carll. Now please welcome our host, Ken Hardley.
Standing down in New York town one day. I was standing down in New York town one day. I was standing down in New York town one day. Hey, hey, hey. I was broke and didn't have a dime. I was broke and didn't have a dime. I was broke and didn't have a dime. Sometimes every good man gets a little hard luck sometimes. Every good man gets a little hard luck sometimes. Hey, hey, old town again. I'm never going back to this old town again. I'm never going back to this old town again. Hey, hey, hey.
Rolling Hills Radio is funded in part by the New York State Council on the Arts Decentralization REAP Grant Program, with support from the New York State Legislature and Governor Andrew Cuomo, and administered by the Tri-County Arts Council. Rolling Hills Radio is underwritten in part by the Jamestown Gazette, the hometown newspaper with good news.
Well, thank you, Julia Zisla Hanley. And welcome to Rolling Hills Radio. This episode brought to you from Proctors in Schenectady, New York. Proctors is a thriving theater complex which houses the arts in many forms, putting out upwards of 1,500 shows a year. On Rolling Hills Radio, you'll hear grassroots Americana music from a wide range of genres. On the show, we have had bluegrass, we've had traditional country, we've had swing, Celtic music, old-time music, folk, contemporary singer, songwriter, and lots more. This episode, we are thrilled to welcome one of the current great songwriters from the Texas music scene. That area of the world has produced some incredible music over the last few decades. Jerry Jeff Walker, Lyle Lovett, Chris Christopherson, Butch Hancock, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, Ray Wiley Hubbard, Willie Nelson, Joe Ely. I can go on and on. But in 2002, an incredibly talented and exciting artist sprang from that fertile creative soil. Since that debut, he's been named Austin Musician of the Year. He won Album of the Year and Song of the Year in the Austin Music Awards. That Song of the Year, by the way, he co-wrote with Darrell Scott. His song, Love That We Need, was NPR's Song of the Week. He was nominated for a Grammy for Country Song of the Year with Ann Womack's cover of Chances Are. His music appears on films, on TV programs. None other than his contemporary, Jason Isbell, says of Hayes, "When I hear somebody like Hayes Carll write a song that's touching and poignant and sad and funny all at the same time, it motivates me to step up my game and to try to figure out a way to get more different emotions into one line or song." This guy can write. Born in Houston, currently living in Nashville, here he is with Beaumont. Please welcome Hayes Carll to the Rolling Hills Radio stage.
I saw you leaning on a memory with your back turned to the crowd in that little bar on Murphy where they play guitar too loud. There were people drinking whiskey and there were hearts about to leave. It was cold as hell for Houston. It was almost New Year's Eve. All the way from Beaumont with a white rose in my hand. I could not wait forever, babe. I hope you understand. The night was feeling lucky, and so I asked you to dance. And the way you looked up at me made me think I had a chance. When I put my arms around you, I knew you weren't giving in. And I hope it will be different if I pass this way again. All the way from Beaumont with a white rose in my hand. I could not wait forever, babe. I hope you understand. Well, I walked the road to get here with a guitar in a case. And I'd have stopped in Pasadena if I'd have known about this place. But you looked like forever, where the water meets the shore. I've been thinking about you, baby. I can't do that anymore. I saw you leaning on a memory with your back turned to the crowd in that little bar on Murphy where they play guitar too loud. There were people drinking whiskey and there were hearts about to leave. It was cold as hell for Houston. It was almost New Year's Eve. All the way from Beaumont with a white rose in my hand. I could not wait forever, babe. I hope you understand. Yeah, all the way from Beaumont with a white rose in my hand. I could not wait forever, babe. I hope you understand. Thank you.
Hayes Carll.
Thank you.
Well, Hayes, let's start at the beginning. Well, kind of at the beginning. You got a history degree from Hendrix College, if I got that right.
Yeah, I did. I did a little used history degree.
Yeah. So tell me, did it take great courage to make the leap from a college man to go into the insecure world of playing music?
It did not. It was a college man doesn't really get you much when you have a history degree and you graduated last in your class. There wasn't really. I knew pretty early on that I wanted to do this, or at least wanted to give it a shot. There was no real, there was no certainty at all that it would ever work out. And so if I had any courage, it was in that, and that I knew before I died I didn't want to die saying I hadn't tried, following my dream. And this was my dream, was to get to write songs and then maybe perform them for people. And so I got out of school. I maybe sort of self-sabotaged. During college, I went to a small school. It was a nice school. It was in a dry county. And so there was nowhere to play music.
Yeah, hard to work in a dry county. Right?
Yeah, and so I just sat around in my living room playing with friends, and I found it was really hard to get discovered in your living room in Conway, Arkansas. And but I was a terrible student, and so when I got out, I really didn't have. There wasn't like nobody was knocking on my door to offer me a job, and so I took that opportunity to go give this a shot, and I'm glad I did.
So you kind of mentioned, is this something you always wanted to do, or did you, from an early age, were you driven to play guitar, to write songs, to live the life of a cowboy?
Yeah, all of it. Well, I don't know about the cowboy part, but
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that is work. And but yeah, really early on, I was always drawn to music, and I like to perform and entertain. When I was in first grade, I was a bit hyperactive, and my teacher, rather than like put me in timeout, she did something I thought was really cool. She would give me 5 minutes at the beginning of every class to stand on a box and like entertain the class, and it worked. I guess it got it out of my system, so I could like not bounce off the walls the rest of the day. I got my fix of attention. And but anyway, she told my mom one day, she goes, I'm going to see him on the Tonight Show someday. I was 6 at the time, so it was, there wasn't much chance of that happening. But then one day it did, and I got to be on the Tonight Show, and so I called Mrs. Walker and told her she had been prescient. But yeah, so I enjoyed performing, but it was. I don't know. I was about in my early teens when I started getting into just the word, whether it was literature or poetry or songwriting. I liked storytellers, and I liked people who could create this world and this environment that took me out of the world I was in and seemed much more exotic and interesting. And so I was hooked pretty early with the power of the word, the lyric,
and we're glad you did. Why don't you climb up on your box and show off for us right now?
Well, that's exactly kind of what I'm doing right now.
You got another song for us, don't you, Hayes?
Sure. I'll do, this is a new one. It's called, it's one I wrote with my girlfriend Allison Moorer and a mutual friend of ours named Adam Landry, and it's called Nunya.
Brand new song, ladies and gentlemen, Hayes Carll.
I asked you where you'd been, and you said Nunya. None of your business, don't you ask no more. You said if you would do a better job of listening, then maybe you would understand why I'm at the door. You just had to paint the front porch ceiling turquoise. You said that's the way we do it in the South. You claimed it keeps out all the evil spirits. Sometimes I can't believe the words are coming out your mouth, but I try because I want to. I know your heart the best way that I can, through the laughter and the pain and the sometimes just insane. Girl, all I want to do is be your man. Sometimes we'll pretend like we are strangers, feel like I should explain at this point. This is a song inspired by Allison. She walks around saying stuff all the time that kind of blows my mind, and it gives me song lyric ideas. And this particular lyric's about traveling that we do. For my line of work, I get to travel a lot, or have to travel a lot, and my primary airline of choice is Southwest Airlines, and so I don't care. I said that the other night, and somebody booed. And it's like, we've got enough that divides us. Do we really need to get into that? Anyway, I travel a lot, and because I travel so much on Southwest, they've given me their highest honor. They've designated me an A-list member. Thank you. That's it's it's the little things that keep you going, and all that means really is that I get to get on the plane before the people who are not A-list members, which is a small perk, but it's a perk, and I'll take it. And unfortunately, Allison has not quite yet achieved A-list status with Southwest, and it's a bit of a sore point between us. I'm sorry, this is throwing off the rhythm of the show here, but anyway, so I'll get on the plane sometimes 20 minutes before she will, and then she'll come and sit, she'll ask if the seat's taken beside me, and I'll usually say no, and then she'll sit down, and then we'll pretend that we don't know each other, and then I kind of gives me an opportunity to sort of be cooler than I am, or try to be anyway. I get to make up anything I want, and see if I could actually pick her up. Which I'm 0 for like 74 since. Anyway, sorry, back to the song. Sometimes we'll pretend like we are strangers out there meeting up for the first time. I'll be a doctor or a secret agent, just hoping that you'll smile with me as I throw out my lines. I used to tell myself that I had it covered, that everything was where it needs to be. But then you showed up and you looked me over, and now I see, oh, I see, and now I see, darling, I see. And so I try because I need to. I know your heart the best way that I can. But for the laughter, or for the pain, or for the way you call my name, but girl, all I wanna do is be your man. I asked you where you'd been, and you said none yet. None your business, don't you ask no more.
Hayes Carll. A song of travel and romance right there. Yes, you've got a lot of music going on in your life. There's certainly Allison Moorer and her sister, Shelby Lynn, right?
Yeah, Shelby.
Yeah. Now, okay, what great songwriting you have going on all around you. How does that work? Now, I know you write songs by yourself, and I know you've collaborated with others, but now you're right next to another great songwriter. And you mentioned she says something that might trigger an inspiration in you somehow to write a song. How does that go?
Yeah, that happens daily. Yeah, so when I started out writing, I wrote by myself. I didn't have anybody else that was interested in it, and so I did that for a long time. And then when I was in my mid-20s, I started getting to write with other people, and I was very fortunate. The first two of the first three people that I wrote a song with were Ray Wiley Hubbard and Guy Clark. And so I was very spoiled in that regard, and they're just very different things, writing by yourself and then writing with somebody else. It can be a scary sort of experience, and it can be a really rewarding and gratifying one.
Now, sometimes songwriters aren't really sure the thing that they've created is really good enough for public presentation, so they'll have somebody that they trust, often a spouse or a brother or something like that. Do you ever do that? And does she ever say, yeah, Hayes, that really sucks?
Yeah, yeah, way more often than I'm comfortable with. But, you know, you can't be thin-skinned about it. I mean, you're first and foremost, the idea is to create something that you're proud of and that says what you want it to say. And, you know, we all have egos, but ego doesn't you know, write the verse. You've got to go in there and practice the craft, and to have somebody who's an editor and can give you a straight opinion about it. You know, I've got plenty of people who would tell me, "Oh, that's great, that's amazing," but to have somebody that I respect that can look at that for me and help me create it a lot of times is a really valuable thing.
Do you decide what to write about before you write a song? In other words, you say, "Gee, I just saw a truck that's really cool. I think I'll sit down and write a song about that truck," or something, or does it just come to you? Tell me how that works.
Yeah, I very rarely have the idea in mind. I generally just get a lyric or so like the first song, Beaumont, I had this line, "I saw you leaning on a memory with your back turned to the crowd." Yeah. I said, I don't know where this is going to go, but it sounds cool. So let's go. Let's see. And that's the fun part, where the whole thing is open, and it's also daunting because until it's on the page, until you have it, it can be really frustrating and scary, and it's just it's a process, and you got to do work. But
now that particular song, Ray Wiley Hubbard collaborated with you, right? Beaumont?
No, Beaumont I wrote by myself, but Ray Wiley Hubbard wrote. Okay. We co-wrote "Drunken Poet's Dream."
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah.
And then a lesser-known song called "Chickens" we wrote together. So,
well, I have an idea. Why don't you do one of those for us right now?
All right. Well, I'm gonna skip "Chickens." The whole. We overestimated the whole poultry folk rock scene of early 2004.
It could happen, Hayes. It could happen on this show. You might want to think about that. But anyway, it's going to be "Drunken Poet's Dream." I get the feeling, right? Yeah, great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Hayes Carll.
She's wild as Rome. She likes to lay naked and be kissed upon. She crosses a bridge and sets it on fire, and it lands like a bird on a telephone wire. Wine bottles scattered like last night's clothes, cigarettes, papers, and time and nose. She laughs for a minute about the shape I'm in. She says, you be the center, honey, I'll be the sin. I'm gonna holler and I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna keep me some mescaline. She brings me roses and a place to lay, a drunken poet's dream. Now I believe my harp has got a busted reed. My lips are chapped and about to bleed. She tastes like pills and cheap cologne. And she tells me I don't ever have to drink alone. Now there's some money on the table and a pistol on the floor. A few paperback books of Louis L'Amour. She says, honey, don't you worry about Judgment Day. All these people going to heaven, they're just in our way. I'm gonna holler and I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna give me some mescaline. She brings me roses and a place to lay, a drunken poet's dream. All my life I laid around while the colors all turned blue. Oh, well, I closed my eyes and finally found he brought me back to you. Now I got a woman, she's wild as wrong. She likes to lay naked and be kissed upon. She crosses a bridge and sets it on fire, and it lands like a bird on a telephone wire. I'm gonna holler and I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna give me some mescaline. She brings me roses and a place to lay, a drunken poet's dream. Drunken poet. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. That was Hayes Carll. Find him at hayescarll.com. Now, we have more music, conversation, sadness, love, humor, sarcasm, and advice, as well as a song that we're all going to do together coming up in the second half of the show. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Rolling Hills Radio with Ken Harley, episode 78. If you would like to be part of our live studio audience, log on to rollinghillsradio.org to get your ticket today. Or you can call the Rolling Hills Ticket Hotline at 716-294-0416. We'll be back after the break with more from Hayes Carll. The second half of our show begins in just a minute. If you would like to be included on the Rolling Hills email distribution list, send your email address to ken@rollinghillsradio.org. To hear or view this episode and all past episodes of Rolling Hills Radio, log on to rollinghillsradio.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And now, back to Rolling Hills Radio with Ken Harley.
Thank you, Julius Isla Hanley. We have lots more to go here from Proctors in Schenectady, New York. You know, this wonderful facility was built in 1926 as a vaudeville theater, and it quickly began drawing huge crowds and popular vaudeville acts from all over the place. And as the years went by, this theater fell into disrepair. The theater was rescued and remodeled in the 1970s by a concerned group of citizens who were interested in the arts. And not only did Proctors then become a thriving center for the arts of all kinds, but it revitalized a very economically stressed area. Today, the neighborhood around Proctors is a thing of beauty, a testimony to how the arts can provide sustainable economic development, as well as enhance and enrich the quality of life in a community. Now, Rolling Hills Radio is accessible to the public on community radio, local access cable, college radio, and other non-commercial outlets, and it's important, and I'm sure it's more important than ever, that the arts are available and affordably available to the audiences that want to hear it. People have to be able to find this kind of music and this kind of art. So that's why we are vigilant for ways to make sure that this music reaches its public. And that means that this show can be found in places that are only other than mainstream. And getting out of the mainstream of the mass media means that you will hear things that you may never have imagined. Specialized information, esoteric facts, unusual viewpoints. For example, I was recently listening to a low-power radio station near me, and I found out that it's estimated that millions of trees in the world are planted accidentally by squirrels who bury the nuts and then forget where they hid them. So now I'm thinking, I'd probably make a great squirrel. Where's my pen? Anyway, maybe we should get back to the music. What do you think? Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, with KMAG YOYO, Hayes Carll.
My daddy joined the Air Force, said it was a good source. Change your love and money, but it only led to divorce. Ended up in Abilene, working at a Dairy Queen. Put me in the Army, dated out at 17. Here I am standing in the desert with a gun. Thought of going AWOL, but I'm too afraid to run. So I got myself a new plan, stealing from the Taliban. Make a little money, turning poppies into heroin. Sergeant didn't like it, so they put me in the hole. Said it's either shooting when they don't know where to go. Threw me on a lily pad, sent me home to NORAD. I knew I'd be in trouble, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. A stranger wearing all black met me on the tarmac. I told him I was sorry, but I ain't ever going back. Said, you ain't in trouble, son. Learn to fight without a gun. A new assignment, now you're working for the Pentagon. Gonna take a trip, he wouldn't tell me what it's for. Gotta serve your country, gonna help us win the war. MIT, PhDs, night and day, they're testing me. Ain't what I was thinking, but I'm being all that I can be. I ain't no genius, but knew it wasn't right. Uppers in the morning and the LST at night. Send me off to deep space, help them win the arms race. Oh, love me almighty, but this stuff has got a funny taste. I hear the countdown, 100 feet above the ground. Told me when I'm leaving, but nothing about it coming down. Sitting on a bad dream, 1,000 tons of gasoline. Ain't leaving nothing but some rubble in my slipstream. Mama always said I should be aiming for the moon. She never would have guessed I'd be passing by soon. How the hell did I get here? Blasting through the atmosphere. Drop the rocket boosters, shifting into high gear. Bowie on the system, bottle on my knee. I'm strong, you got nothing on me. Hey ho, here we go, KMAG YOYO. Someone wanna get me, gotta come up where the sun don't go. I think I see a bright light, something about it ain't right. I lay down in a spaceship, I woke up in a firefight, tripping from the morphine, came down in a bad scene. God don't let me die here, I ain't even 19. Won't ever ask you love or anything again. I swear it on the Bible, the Torah, Quran. I'm lying in a rhino track, about to have a heart attack. IED got to me, someone called a medevac. I need some fixing after where it is I've been. Never gonna go and try and shoot a gun again. Slipping out the back door, gonna join the Peace Corps. Tell me I'm a hero now, someone else can't fight this war.
Hayes Carll, KMAG YOYO. Yeah. Great stuff, Hayes. Well, now the genre of music that you play, I've heard it called lots of different things. I don't know if labels are appropriate here, but I've heard things like maverick country folk, progressive country, alt country. Do you have one that you prefer?
No. I don't know. You know, when I was a kid, I just thought I just wanted to be a singer, and then but I grew up. My primary influence was country music, and So I always kind of thought of myself somewhere between a folk singer and a country singer. That last song, I'm not sure it was either, but I think Americana kind of covers it pretty well these days.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, and you mentioned some of the people who have influenced you, Ray Wiley Hubbard, of course, but I know Bob Dylan was an influence for you, John Prine.
Yeah, for
Jack
sure.
Kerouac. Jack Kerouac, right?
Yeah, I just influences came from all over the place, and like I said earlier, I liked people who could take me out of the world I was in and put me in a more exciting, adventurous world.
And what a thing! I mean, you grew up and actually got to hang around a lot of your childhood heroes.
A few of them, yeah. It's been. I have to pinch myself sometimes.
Well, okay, now you're the younger guy hanging around all these greats. I'm sure they gave you some advice. What's the best advice any of these guys ever gave you? That you can say now.
Right. Well, Ray Wiley has probably given me more advice than anybody, and has been a bit of a mentor to me. But one thing that he told me early on that I've always tried to hold on to is that it's all about the song, and everything else comes from that. And fads will come and go, and people being popular, that wanes. And but if you have a song, if you have something to say, that will last, and it may not reach everybody, and not everybody will necessarily like it, but you'll have something that you're offering the world. If it's something that everybody else can do, then you're not, you're just a commodity. But if you have a voice and a point of view that's unique to you, that's as a writer of any kind, I think the most important thing. And so I've always tried to remember that. I don't have the prettiest voice, I'm not the best guitar player, I'm a terrible dancer. But I figured so rather than try and be somebody else, I thought the only thing I really have to offer is myself, whatever that is, whatever that thing is that makes the way I look at the world unique. That's what I have to try and share. And so that's what I've tried to do, and that's been really great advice for me.
You do what you do, and the people find you, rather than try to attract people to you.
Yeah, ideally. It's like dating. I don't know what, that doesn't make any sense really.
No,
but
that's fine.
But you try to be yourself and hope people like you. And sometimes you try too hard because you really like somebody or you want them to like you. But that usually doesn't always work. I'm gonna stop talking now. So.
Yeah. No, but I am glad you mentioned, because just so we're clear, musicians cannot dance. Okay, you got another song for us, I'll bet.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing a new one here. So I've got a record coming out in February, and thank you. Of 2022, and I'm really excited about it. This is a great chance to sort of preview build the suspense.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hayes Carll.
I've seen you at the window, I've heard you at the door. I felt the world convince you could even up the score. Watched you carry all the memories of the life that came before and went away. But I will stay. I remember how you told me you felt it all might fall apart. You barely made it into this world. You've been fighting from the start. It's not easy to believe, but I will protect your heart in every way. I will stay. Warm rain on the wall, lone star in the night, and brave dreams to hold on to. It will be alright. It's hard to keep believing all the stories you've been told, and to watch the way you try, baby, it's sad to behold. And sometimes you will get angry, and sometimes you will get cold, but that's okay. I will stay. every garden and a lock on every door. And all of them remind you of the ones who came before. There's a pain in every memory you don't have to hold no more. Now the summer sun is fading and the autumn's in the heart. And if time would just stop moving, it wouldn't bother you at all. But your story isn't finished. You got so much more to say, and I can't wait. So I will stay. I will stay.
Hayes Carll. That's beautiful stuff, and that's from your upcoming album, which, as we speak at the time of this recording, is coming out in 4 months or so. Your new album.
Yeah, it's on Dualtone Records, and it'll be out February 22nd, unless something awful happens.
Well, that can't happen. So, your most recent album before this one, Lovers and Leavers, was quite a departure from what you had done before. It was more of maybe a self-revealing album. How did your audience respond to the new Hayes Carll?
Thank you. Yeah, it was mixed. I think it was a departure, and so I have an interesting sort of the folks that listen to me. It's kind of a diverse group. So I have people that are songwriter fans and appreciate folk music and the lyric and I have people who like to drink a lot and dance and people who are both. I find myself somewhere in the middle but the last record didn't have a lot on it for the latter group, but it was just where I was at in my life and creatively, and I don't want to repeat myself and do the same thing every time, and to make it fun for me, and challenging creatively, and then to go out and perform this stuff, year after year. I make my living on the road mostly, and I need to believe it, and I need to be connected to it, and so I believed that record, and I was connected to it. It was where I was at creatively.
So, as a work of art, the next one coming up, what can we expect?
It's sort of, it's a little more open and as you say, revealing, but without the depression. Which is a good place to be for me. It's like...
Yeah. So, Hayes, we get the feeling things are going well for you right now.
Things are going really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. You have another song for us, pal?
I do.
Do it. Hayes Carll.
In times like these, everyone could use a hand. Instead of standing around losing ground, running down the promised land. It's so hard to tell if this is heaven or hell, and I can never measure by degrees. But it's sure getting warm around here in times like these. In times like these, do I really need a billionaire? Just taking up my time trying to tell me how he's treated unfair. But then I have to pay as the home of the brave gets divided into them and the weak. Oh, I find I'm losing my mind in times like these. Yeah, they come and they go, they're here and they're not. I'm just trying to keep the world from changing me to something I'm not. I do my labor, love my girl and help my neighbor while I keep a little hope of my dreams. But it's sure getting hard, brother, in times like these. I wish someone was on my side. Instead of bringing it together with his widening the great divide. And I hope and I pray at the end of the day that I can somehow get my troubles to ease. But I gotta say it's not looking good, not in times like these. Yeah, they come and they go, they're cold and they're hot. I tell you I'm getting better at losing something I haven't got. And I'm gonna try to run till the whole thing's done, and I just hope I don't end up on my knees. But it's sure getting hard to stand up at times like these. I just wanna do my labor, love my girl, and help my neighbor while I keep it on my joie de vivre. But it's sure getting hard, brother, in times like these. I could use just a little bit of help in times like these.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Hayes Carll. Hayes, this seems to me, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but this seems to me a great time for songwriters. We have an amazing bunch going on right now. Greg Brown, Todd Snyder, Lucinda Williams, Nick Drake, Chris Stapleton. What about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of those people have been heroes of mine for a long time. Greg Brown, for sure, Todd Snyder, and Lucinda, and Stapleton's doing really great stuff. Jason Isbell's a friend of mine, but I mean, he's just doing amazing work. I can't say enough good things about Jason's stuff, yeah, they're all over the place, and it's really cool as an artist to be able to see those people and what they're doing, and they inspire and they push me to sit down and put pen to paper, and I think as a fan, I just enjoy getting to hear great stuff and people who can again articulate that human experience and make me feel better about the world.
Well, let me ask you about the other way around. Now, you have had some great artists cover your material, Kenny Chesney, Ann Womack. What's it like to just hear something that came from your brain being reinterpreted by someone like that?
It's very special. Yeah, I mean, before I ever was singing songs like in front of people, I mean, I just didn't know this part would be a reality. I didn't think this could ever happen. But I thought for sure I can write songs and I thought maybe that would be, and I don't mean that as in like they would be great, but I thought whether I can do that by myself. I could write songs and say what I had to say, and I thought maybe that would be my way into the music world is getting songs to people, and so it's really rewarding when it happens. And then when it's done by people like Todd Snyder's band, the Hardworking Americans, recorded one of my songs, and that's really cool when people that I really look up to or Ann Womack's one of the greatest vocalists in the world.
Yeah, she's great.
To hear her take my song, but with her voice rather than mine, it's surreal and beautiful. I got to sit next to her one time while she performed it, and it was just a very strange out-of-body experience to hear this angel singing words that I had written.
I can't even imagine. I got time for one more question for you. You're a country dude, but if you were a rock and roll star, which one would you be?
Which rock and roll star would I be? Oh, I'd go straight Dylan all the way. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. The answer is Tom Petty.
Oh, that's not bad, actually. Yeah.
We got another song for us, don't you, Hayes?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hayes Carll.
All right, well, thank y'all so much, and again, thanks for having me on the show. And I do this here. This is about a little bar down in Austin called Lala's. What makes it unique is it's got Christmas lights up year-round and a jukebox with nothing on it past 1968. Which I thought was cool and it was interesting, but it piqued my curiosity. And I asked around, what the story was, and what I heard was a tragic one. The bar's called Lala's, and it turned out that Lala had a son who had gone off to Vietnam at Christmas time. And she promised she wasn't going to take the lights down until he came back home. So all these years later, those lights are still up. Jesus and Elvis, painted on velvet, hanging at the bar here every night. It's good to be back again, oh, me and my old friends, beneath the neon cross and a string of Christmas lights. Lola built this joint in '67, and her boy went off to fight on Christmas Eve. In a war nobody won, but she lost her only son. Now everything he loved is what you see. And Jesus and Elvis, painted on velvet, hanging at the bar here every night. Told him Jesus loves a sinner, and his daddy told him music saved his soul. Between the drunkards and the band, it's a fitting promised land for the King of Kings and the King of rock and roll. Jesus and Elvis, painted on velvet, hanging at the bar here every night. It's good to be back again, oh, me and my old friends, beneath the neon cross and a string of Christmas lights. It's good to be back again, oh, me and my old friends, beneath the neon cross and a string of Christmas lights. By and by, Lord, by and by. By and by, Lord, by and by. So if you need a shot of Dickel or redemption, where the Delta meets the Sea of Galilee, and get washed in the blood of the Mississippi mud. Come all you non-believers, and you'll see.
Hayes Carll. Well, we're getting toward the end of the show. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. You know, the great traditional country songwriter Harlan Howard said, country music is 3 chords and the truth. Genuine music like the human condition cannot be contrived. When a great writer like Hayes Carll comes along, it's like turning on a light. Listening to some Hayes Carll songs, every one of your exes magically appears. Every hope, every insecurity, every emotional victory, every fear, every joy, like Harlan suggests, it's not complicated, but it's deep. Well, speaking of uncontrived, here's a song, Elvis Presley's first hit, written by Arthur Big Boy Crudup. Not complicated, but full of rockabilly and truth. That's all right, mama, that's all right for you. That's all right, mama, any way you do, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Said it's all right now, mama, any way you do.
My mama, she didn't tell me, daddy didn't tell me too. Son, that girl you're fooling with, she ain't no good for you, but that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I said, that's all right now, mama, any way you do. Bothered with me, hang around your door, but that's alright.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's alright.
That's alright.
Said that's alright now, mama, any way you do.
Well, that's alright, mama. That's alright for you. That's alright, mama, any way you do. Well, that's alright.
That's alright.
That's alright.
That's alright.
Said it's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Back to the boys. That's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Said it's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Said it's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Said it's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Well, that's alright now, mama, anyway you do. Trevin Mall, Hayes Carll, I'm Ken Hardley. We'll see you next time on Rolling Hills Radio.
You've been listening to Rolling Hills Radio with Ken Hardley, episode 78. Special thanks to the staff at Proctors, Kevin Mall, and Hayes Carll. The Rolling Hills Radio cast and crew are technical liaison Ed, have sound Will Travel Tomasini, stage manager Brianne. You'll listen to me if you know what's good for you, Fidel. Listening to Brianne Fidel, Tom Fidel, and assistant producer and the boss's boss, Kathy Hardley. I'm Julia Cecila Hanley, and I'm going shopping in beautiful downtown Schenectady now. Please join us next time on Rolling Hills Radio with Ken Hardley.